man's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
What's going on, everybody? This is Dan French. This is the French Workbench podcast here on a Saturday. And I wanted to invite everybody in. What's going on, everybody? How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. What's going on? So we got a full show here today. And we're streaming live here from Las Vegas. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. Also, we have comments in the comment section. If you guys want to make comments on that or any questions on that, we're going to be live here. And I want to go ahead and introduce my friend here. His name is Rick Raines. What's going on, Rick?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hey, had an interesting deja vu on the way in today. We've been talking about what we all think is going to happen in 2022, and it's interesting because we related it back to COVID in that you never know. And as I was on the freeway headed east, got to the airport, and there's all these cops. All right, and I'm wondering, what the heck's going on?
I saw that.
Me too.
Overpass.
However, going west, they had the entire freeway blocked off, and it was backed up forever.
Is that because the Prez is rolling in?
And
Air Force One, yeah.
So anyway, looking at the people waiting on the other side of the freeway, and then going a little farther and watching them come down from on-ramps, and you see the kids in the car, and they're all having fun, and people are drinking their coffee, not knowing that they're coming in life to a freaking dead stop for who knows
Dude,
how
I know,
long.
right?
And every time I was just watching the other side of the freeway, and all the happy drivers just doing 75.
Yeah, just driving by,
and
thank God, thank God.
That was me.
In 30 seconds, you're coming to a dead stop for God knows how long.
Yep.
Dude, can you imagine you're just passing through, driving through the state, not having nothing, no aware of what's going on, and all of a sudden you're just coming through an interstate, and you got to go another 3 states, and you're like, just sitting there.
You're totally trapped. I mean, it's like mice looking at cheese and the thing.
No, you're right, man. You're like, dude, as soon as you come around the corner, your whole world's about ready.
It's ready to end. It's just ready to end.
And that's
I know something you don't know.
Yep, that's exactly what went up. Go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and bring in Mr. Bret Jenny because he interjected over here. Bret Jenny, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Grease and salutations.
Yeah, man.
Saturday morning, get my coffee in. It's been a pretty good week.
Yeah.
Kind of bad week, kind of good week, a little bit of everything in between. So that's
Absolutely.
it, man. Just here to talk some shop on Saturdays.
Talk shop. We also have Shannon Miller. Shannon, what's going on with you today? How are you?
Good. It's been a morning. It's Saturday. And Saturday with 2 boys is craziness. We did a sleepover last night.
Nice.
And I ended up sleeping next to a ninja last night.
Oh, cool.
And I'm pretty sure that at one point my son put both of his legs over the top of me and then put his arm around my head, and I go, "No, sir." And he goes,
That's funny.
What
It's the worst night of sleep ever.
What a difference a Friday night makes in 10 years.
I know.
Right? Can you imagine 10 years ago?
Oh, usually it's a good time. But
Yeah,
last
yeah.
night, not
10 years
quite
later,
there.
how you doing?
And we also have Corin Lujan's back. What's going on, Corin?
Good morning. Well, your Friday night sounded more exciting than mine, so I was doing laundry and
None of your
phone chat.
guys hitting you up on Messenger? You didn't go on any of those?
I didn't say that. I had a nice phone chat with a nice person, so thank you.
So nice as in he's cool to date, or
He's
nice
cool.
as friend zone?
He didn't say nasty things. He didn't send me nasty things.
So he acted like a grown up.
I
That's
know,
usually
but
a start.
Our standards have gotten so low.
Yeah,
It's
you didn't
like-
You
talk
guys were
dirty
chatting
to
with us
me.
before the
That's
show,
great.
telling us some stories, and
So-
Rick and I are just
But I have an open house after
Crazy.
the show, so yeah.
Open house.
Beautiful day today.
cool. Where at?
It is
in
beautiful.
Tuscany.
Tuscany.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You have the address?
Yep.
What is it?
453 Punta Vallarta.
Punta Vallarta.
New listing.
Well, there you go.
Oh, that sounded like
Oh,
that sounded like
Vallarta.
I
Was
don't
that
know. Is that
appropriate? I'm not sure.
right?
So in other words, it's in
Got it.
Tuscany.
It's in Tuscany. Beautiful, beautiful house. So hit me up for that.
All right, guys, so we're going to get into the show. So I wanted to get started here. So first off, we're the most real and behind-the-scenes information regarding financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs going on here in Las Vegas. I also want to say subscribe to the channel if you like the content. We're going to put this out every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and Saturday at 10 a.m. And if you have any questions, comment section. We're going to have a great guest on today. He's going to talk about mold. His name is Dustin. and we're going to get with him here in a second. And so, you know, when you look at this overall market, we're starting to see a lot of, well, it's still slow, right? We see problems going on with inventory. We still see it dropping. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We also have, looked at OfferPad. They just got another loan from a bank to help them buy more homes, $600 million. And so that's going to be big competition for all us realtors. You know, I mean, you look at the situation, they're trying to buy homes. We want to talk about that.
They got a loan from a bank or investors?
An additional, no, it's an investor.
Okay.
But it's a bank that helped them out.
That's, okay.
So it's not a party of investors.
I know what you mean.
It's a bank.
It's a bank as the investor.
Right.
Yep.
So you think about it, and Zillow had an issue, right? And they didn't come back and say, hey, you know what? Maybe they should have gotten investors, but I don't know what their situation was.
Because Zillow's a different business practice.
Yeah.
So Zillow isn't only in the business of iBuying homes, which OfferPad is. That's their only shtick.
Right.
So Zillow is a bunch of other things, and the market's really going well. So now we're going to start doing this too.
And so this year too, we're also going to incorporate, like we said, we're going to have guests on. I want to talk with Bret about cryptocurrency and really see if that's going to be something that people continue to invest into. I know that we've had somewhat of a bear market here recently. I want to talk a little bit about that, right?
Right now as we speak, it's...
Yeah, right?
Like literally as we speak right now.
So let's get into this. So let's go ahead and introduce our guy here, Dustin. And so, Dustin, what's going on, buddy? This is No Demo Mold. What's going on today? How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you inviting me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. So first off, I want to say, you know, a lot of people here don't think that mold is really an issue in Vegas because maybe the dry heat, right? Maybe it's just
right.
the temperature or the climate is not, it's not there for mold. I know like California, you have more moisture, things like that, that
right.
potentially that would be something that people would say, okay, well, that's where the big problems are at. But yet you're in Utah and you also work out of Las Vegas, right? So kind of tell us your story about how you got into this business and what you see out here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, for sure. And you're right. That's almost always the first thing people say when they ask me about my business and being in Las Vegas in business with mold is people instantly think it's so dry. How can mold even grow there? And there's some truth to that. It is related to the climate and humidity.
Right.
And but a lot of that is you're talking about your outdoor climate. What the kind of climate you have inside your house is a lot of times entirely different.
Correct.
Because obviously Vegas you can be 120 degrees outside, but inside your house you can keep it down to a nice 68 or 69 or whatever you can get it cooled down to. So your inside of your house is almost its own separate atmosphere.
Yes.
That goes.
So are you from Utah, or how did this work? Like, how did you get into this business?
Born and raised. Yeah, born and raised in Utah.
Okay.
And so I actually started out as a house flipper myself. So I started in with buying houses, and that's kind of how I got into the whole real estate. Eventually into construction, and now into mold. Most recently in life, I figured out I think I have a little bit of ADHD.
Who doesn't?
A lot of people
join the club, man.
Yeah. Like my brain can't focus on one thing, so I have to do a dozen different things. So I have all kinds of hats as far as, when I started. I started out as a computer programmer, and then I moved to a hardware technician.
Wow.
And
wow.
And
totally different direction, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you see in mold out of the construction? I mean, construction's huge. Why mold? What attracted you to it?
So it actually started with an experience of my own with house flipping. So I bought a foreclosure, and it was a condo unit. It was a bottom level condo unit, and I picked it up on foreclosure, and it had some water damage. As you know, with buying foreclosures, especially in a hot market, you kind of have to jump on things pretty quick. So we don't have oftentimes you don't have a lot of time to look at it. So I pulled the trigger really fast, and I kind of bought it almost sight unseen. I mean, I knew it had water damage. The bank had already sent in a preservation company to remove some of the drywall that was damaged by the water. So they had cut, the drywall along the floor, which is usually the first step in the water mitigation process, is to dry it out and remove all the damaged material. So at least I knew what I was getting into as far as that goes. And so when I took possession of the property, it had, like I say, the drywall had been removed. I had my contractors come in and told them, start removing anything that looks like it might be physically damaged. So if you see any discoloration or anything that maybe they missed, let's go ahead and remove it and replace it, because obviously you don't want any problems moving forward. So I had my guys go in, rip out some more sheetrock that they found. They found a little bit of discoloration on some more drywall. So we went ahead and ripped that out. We ended up doing almost the entire unit about 4 feet high off the ground. All of the flooring, obviously, all the carpets and pads and, the wood flooring and all that kind of stuff all came out. We remodeled the whole place top to bottom, made it look really pretty, really nice. I got it on the market. Looked beautiful. The buyer, I disclosed that it had some water damage, and the buyer decided they want to do a mold test. And much to my surprise, when they showed me the mold test, it was bad. It was
oh wow,
it was showing that it had high levels of mold. And like I said, we'd already, remodeled this entire place. I'm like, how can that be? Because I replaced everything, took everything out. It looked great. We cleaned everything. But, and this is how I started the learning process about mold, is it's not just a visual aspect.
It's in the air, yeah.
But once you start removing the materials, it creates an airborne issue.
Huh.
It can start circulating through the air ducts, the air vents, the HVAC system, and it really never goes away.
And then it can just regrow in other places because once it's in the air?
Spores.
Eventually it can so mold is an organism, so it needs a food source. So it has to have moisture in order to grow and replicate. But once it dries out and goes dormant, it never goes away. It stays there. And it can
so you
circulate
can't actually fix the issue ever. Is that correct?
Well, essentially, that's it's true. Mold is outside in the air you breathe every day. So it's one of those things that some people don't understand. That
comes with life.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you a quick.
Comes with breathing.
I want to say a quick story real quick. So in California, there was a house that somebody was renting, and they were growing, weed, and they were growing some, basically growing things out of it. Let's just call it that. And they were selling it. It was a drug dealer house, right? And so they didn't know this, the landlord. And they ended up having to, I think the house is going to have to be demolished because there was so much black mold on the walls that you can't recover it. Wow. So does that usually happen?
The same thing as like a meth house. You got it completely.
Exactly. I mean, it was a drug.
Completely got. I mean, yeah.
Does that stuff happen? Have you seen that in Vegas where you see, people that are doing that type of thing?
Yeah, that definitely happens with people who grow, because you're trying to grow plants inside your home, and
especially back in the foreclosure days.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as a real estate agent, I don't think you're able to actually come out and say, what happened in this house. Like, for instance, like if there's maybe you can talk about this. So
if it's a foreclosure, a bank's just going to basically do an SRPD, which is a seller's property disclosure. They're just going to say they've never lived there. They claim nothing. Do your own due diligence.
Yeah,
but if it's a seller, you have to disclose. You have to disclose it.
Well, if there's a death in a house, you don't have to disclose what happened.
In Nevada, you don't have to.
Right.
In California,
that was one of the first things I asked.
I didn't know
that. In Nevada, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Right. So is that the same? Are you going through things like that?
No, this you have to.
This you have to, right?
100%.
And this is a good question. So you have to disclose this, right, Dustin?
We're talking about a death or mold?
Mold. Either one. No.
Mold. Dustin's like, I don't know anything about the death.
You choose.
Or a death caused by mold.
You don't have to disclose. You don't have to disclose a death.
Right.
You have to disclose mold, but you know about it because it's a physical attribute that affects the.
What is the process if somebody has to go in and just try to rehab that whole, like if let's say the house is definitely overtaken with mold? What is that process for somebody? Walk me through like what somebody would have to do to get that fixed or get it removed.
Remediated.
Right. Yeah. So back to my condo situation. That's how I quickly learned that was going to be a problem, because, like I said, we'd already put it back together. And with traditional methods, some of the restoration companies I talked to, they were saying, well, you're going to have to rip out, a lot of that drywall again that you just put in. It's got fresh paint and brand new baseboards and flooring and all that. And you're looking at upwards of, $4,000 to $6,000 just to take it all out and have us look for the mold and cut up some containment barriers. And these are all traditional, old school protocols on mold mitigation. So they basically try to identify where the mold was or originated from. And in this case, it was a flood. So they're basically saying, yeah, let's rip everything out. Let's set up some negative air pressure and start vacuuming out some of that air. And you're looking at a ton of money. So I started, researching some different companies or avenues and people that specialize in mold. And I happened to come across this franchise, which is what I bought into. I'm actually part of a franchise, a national franchise. And it's a demolition-free mold mitigation system. And it's relatively new. It's been around since 2008, roughly is when they started it. And they use a different process. It's called a dry fog technology. And so, whereas with traditional methods, like I say, they have a lot of procedures that they have to do with negative air, setting up air machines, and then they let that run for 3 to 6, 7 days to get that air circulating, get some fresh air in and the bad air out, and then filter it out. In addition to removing all the materials again in hopes to find the source. But with this dry fog technology, basically what we do is we fill the entire inside of the home with a vapor. And,
it's like a smoke bomb, right?
Yeah, it's essentially very similar to doing
it's badass.
Do you tent
cockroach
it
bomb
like
or
a
something like
termite?
that.
You
Don't
tent the
go
house?
inside.
You tent the house, Dustin?
no, we don't have to. We don't have to tent it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
It's a high pressure system. It's
Yeah.
a truck mounted system that we use that converts the non toxic chemical that we use to kill the mold, and it creates just a giant fog barrier inside the house. It'll fill the
So it's
entire
basically
house.
it's a chemical solution instead of having to go in and,
It is,
and
yeah.
demolish everything.
What's the
Right,
cost
it's a
difference?
proprietary.
Okay.
What's that?
Cool.
It's huge. Yeah.
What's the cost difference
It's a
between
huge
that?
cost difference. So to give you an idea, this condo that I was telling you about that I had to mitigate, other companies were telling me $4,000 to $6,000. This company said they'll do it for $950.
Whoa.
Sold out the door.
Done.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, where do I
Where do I
Here's my
sign?
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, take my money.
How long does that fog have to stay in there, or how long do the people have to stay out of the property?
It depends on the size of the property because we do the entire house. So anywhere from, a condo can be maybe 2 or 3 hours, up to a 5,000 square foot house could be a full day process. Could be
So
8 hours.
it's actually very short compared to, again,
Super
a full,
short.
a full
Super
demo.
short.
Like I say, the restoration companies with the air machines, they're talking a week. Just run their air
Easy.
machines.
Dustin, do you do mold inspections here? Because I think in our contract, my buyers always waive it. It's like, there's no mold in Vegas. So,
Well,
do you do
because
mold
a
inspections?
lot of time the inspector. So go ahead. Sorry, Dustin. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah. We do inspections, we do
Okay.
mold testing, we do air quality testing, surface testing.
Because you're, I'm
estimates
feeling
are pretty
paranoid now.
well.
It's like I should
feeling
recommend
paranoid.
that.
I feel like I'm
This doesn't
itching.
feel
Just
right.
listen to this. I'm like, why do I itch talking to you?
I'm curious to hear what percentage does it not work for, and you do have to go in and demolish. This fog doesn't work.
Does it ever
Well,
not
and that's,
work?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's as far as killing the mold, we have no problem killing it. In fact, part of this company that quoted me the $950, they also offered me a 1-year warranty that said
Oh wow.
1 year
that's
we
big.
guarantee
That's
there's
great.
no mold. If you ever have an issue, come
Yeah.
back. We'll
Wow.
do it again for free until it's clean. And then they also provide lab tests to confirm that when we're done. So these are all things that we provide. Not only do we do it for less than half the cost and 10 times as fast, but we also provide a warranty for a full year and lab testing.
So when you said this company, I'm assuming because of the way you worded that it was not at that time the no mold demo franchise type of thing.
Yeah, they're actually called Pure Maintenance out of Utah. And they're based here in Utah where I am. They gave us the opportunity to either use their name or we could create our own name. And so I ended up choosing my own name. Why I decided to go with no demo mold because it was a demolition-free system. But back to your question of, what's the process and removal, and what if we do have to remove it? The beautiful thing about our system is it's demolition-free, and we can kill the mold and clear the house. But there is always the visual aspect. The fact that we can kill it and mitigate it doesn't mean that it disappears. Mm-hmm. In other words, if you have visible growth on your wall or you have cracking or peeling of the paint and all that, that's not going to change. So that's still going to have to come out. So it always starts with the removal of any materials that are physically damaged.
So what are the signs that,
so
like, we've got some homeowners, including myself, I'm going to go home and look at my house for some signs of mold or anything like that. What should we be looking for, Dustin?
Yeah, you always want to start with your moisture areas. Like I say, mold needs moisture to grow. So you start with your sink. Look under the kitchen sink. Look under your bathroom vanities. That's almost 9 times out of 10. That's where we find the most problems. Is those kinds of leaks usually are really slow drips, and a lot of people don't even know they're there for could be months before you discover that you've had a leak until it starts running out, off the floor, if it gets worse. Or you always want to check your moisture areas.
Dustin, I've got another question for you. Couple questions. How many different types of mold are there? And how many of all of those different, I'm going to call them species or variants, do you really have to worry about?
Yeah, good question. There's I don't know, hundreds, if not thousands of species. Almost to the point where we really only focus on a certain few species because they're known to exist in a given area or climate. So, take for example the kind of mold you find growing on your bread that you leave out for too long, or your fruit that you left sitting out on the counter for months at a time. That's the green stuff, the green fuzzy stuff that you see. That's a penicillium species, and I'm not, I won't say penicillium is good, but they created penicillin based off of this type of mold spore. So that's that type of stuff naturally occurs outside. So you'll typically find penicillium, and there's maybe 7 or 8 other types of molds that thrive in the outdoor air that you're breathing every day. The ones that we get worried about are the more toxic species, and these are the species that tend to absorb your house materials, and that's what makes it toxic, is it feeds off of the paint and the glues and all the materials inside your house, and it mutates into a toxic species, which is now referred to as black mold. So typically when you're seeing the black growth, that's when you've probably got a more serious problem versus the green kind of stuff. But in both cases, both can be bad for your health if you have enough exposure to it.
What kind of health issues do you have?
What's interesting is that you said enough exposure to it. And I've heard that you have to have a lot of mold, and you need to almost be sleeping in it for weeks at a time before
you are.
The average person actually has any sort of detrimental adverse effects to it, and that in part, like many things in life, this is all blown out of proportion. Not that it's not necessary, I'm not saying that, but what's the reality of it?
It's not like you're walking into a nuclear reactor.
Right, yeah. I tell most people it's much like smoking. It's not going to kill you today when you smoke one cigarette, but if you do it for long enough, eventually it's going to get you.
What's long enough?
Yeah, and well,
ask God.
And therein lies therein lies part of the problem with this particular industry, and there is no threshold. There's no governing body that says, okay, this much mold is going to kill you. You got to worry about it now.
So I've had a few transactions where my buyers will come in, they'll see mold, something in the inspection. We're doing a hard stop. They back out, or the ones that do go forward, they'll say they're worried about resale because they do have to disclose that. I mean, how many years, Bret, do you know we have to disclose this stuff? And then
as long as I mean, if you've bought the house, if you live there for 10 years, you say I'm not exact. I would just fully disclose everything. I'd be like, hey, even if I've lived there 15 years, at one point this happened, at one point that happened.
Yeah, but there's a time period for somebody to go back.
I'm sure there is. I'm just talking about being full disclosure.
Yeah,
I'm sure there is. I'm just
I believe it's 2 years.
2 years.
I believe it's 2 years that you could, if you put something on there and they find something out that you didn't put on the SRPD, they can come after you for that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and if you put on there, hey, 10 years ago we had them. I mean, obviously it's not been an issue since, and it's resolved, and most people aren't going to have an issue. It's when they come in and they see, if it's mold that's like underneath the kitchen sink in that cabinet, that's where I'll see it a lot of times, because someone will have a drip in their sink and it'll drip down, and fix the leak, clean up the mold, and you're good to go on that most of the time. Yeah. But people have a preconceived notion of. Some people it just completely freaks out.
It does.
And the second they're like, I don't care. It doesn't matter what you say to them. They're gone. And other people are like, I don't care. It doesn't,
Right. Dustin, what are some of the things that you can say to my clients so I can keep getting paid?
Exactly.
Yeah. Send them to us. That's how you do
You're on my speed dial.
Good answer, man. Good answer.
Absolutely.
They'll take care of it. They'll give you a warranty, and they'll do it cheap.
Okay. Sounds good.
Good job,
literally, that's literally a fifth of the price of what the other place was.
I got a couple of questions. So, is there any celebrities or anybody that you've actually done work for here in Las Vegas, or maybe a high end type of home, $1 million? I'm not. You don't have to say names, but I guess you have to.
This is where you name drop, bro.
Yeah, right.
We're about name dropping on
Who
this
do
show.
you know?
Who do you know? Who's the man behind the man? That's what we want to know.
Yeah, I'm going to say Maloof. We've done a couple of Maloofs.
All right. Cool. Maloof.
Maloof.
You don't know Maloof?
I don't either.
Who's Maloof?
Oh, dude, Google
You guys.
Maloof. That's all I'm going to say. Google
Seriously?
Maloof.
You live in Las Vegas. It's Las Vegas. You should know this.
Dude, I don't care about the light night.
Brett only knows A to Z. I'm going home.
Dude, I'm here to make money.
And you know about Wisconsin. Anything about Wisconsin, he's in.
Wisco. Hey, yo. You want to know something about the Packers or Bitcoin? I'm the man.
No, except for snow. He doesn't know about snow.
Yeah.
No, I know about snow. That's why I don't live there. I know enough to not. Yeah.
All right, who's Maloof?
Hold on, Maloof.
Who else? Okay,
Yeah,
give
Maloof,
us
they own the
another
Palms.
one.
Yeah, they own the Palms, right?
Oh,
Or they used to own the Palms. Do they still own it?
Sacramento Kings. I don't know if they still do. I don't know if they still do. But
Yeah.
They sold it.
Maloof family. Wow, they've got their own family.
Hey,
Yeah,
So
no,
I'm
it's a whole
assuming.
thing.
so that's another question.
Like the
How
Rothschilds.
often do you have to do large commercial operations as compared to single family residence?
Yeah, we're primarily residential, mostly just because a lot of the relationships we have are with residential realtors and property management companies. So the majority of those spaces, the properties are residential. But yeah, we've done a fair share of commercial properties.
Yeah.
And most of those are very big buildings.
Huh.
So obviously it's even more cost effective for us to do a larger building because you're talking about 10,000 square foot office.
Dustin, do you
where-
still spray? Or do you do the fog
Spray.
thing? You spray for mold or
Yeah.
you do?
Yeah, so it's just the fog. Yeah,
Okay.
we don't do any.
No more spraying.
Yeah, we do the fog. That's what kills the airborne issue, and that's like I say, that's usually the demolition part that people overlook. They take the physical stuff out, but they forget that the stuff floating around in the air is
Right.
freezing. You can't see.
Yeah.
You don't know it's there until you test for it. So,
Yeah, I had a mitigation company sprayed with, and it was see-through spray. So I'm like,
See-through spray?
It's like, dude, I can still see the black mold. My buyers just
gotta
pull it
See-through
out.
spray.
It was
You gotta take it
see-through.
out.
Dude, I want some of that. Can you spray that on people?
Yeah, see-through spray. It's like,
See
you
through
can
'em?
See the mold.
Oh, wow.
It's like, she's like,
That's
no,
where he's
Corinne,
going.
it's dead.
You
I
see
go,
that?
I can still see it. It's
One
not
step
dead to
ahead.
me. Yeah.
Right?
yeah,
Hey, so I got
bleach
to.
is a no-no.
Just kidding.
I want to say one more thing, Dustin. So, people always talk about the Las Vegas market, and they're always like, well, is it a good time to buy an investment property? I want to bring up that, when you look in March, you look at Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, if you're trying to get into a loan, they're going to start charging a higher price for your rate. They're going to build that into the rate. People aren't going to know it's going to be a hidden cost, right? So you look at this investment property situation here in Las Vegas. Is it a good time to buy an investment property? Because I know you probably deal with a lot of investors. Is that not true?
Oh yeah, quite a few. I mean, yeah, there is. I mean, we wish we all had a crystal ball on knowing when the market's going to peak, but yeah, I mean, it's always, especially if you're looking for a rental or long term, there's almost never, unless you're in a really, really bad economy situation where you feel something's going to tank, then but I mean, it's always a good time to buy.
Yep, it is.
Have you ever seen a market like this, though, where it's this scarcity of homes? I mean, we talk about home affordability.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah, this market is just nuts lately. I've never seen anything like it. It's just crazy and kind of hurts us house flippers, right? Because it's so competitive. You try to buy something. And
I mean, the marginal profit, you've got to be willing to put in twice the work for half the profit, literally.
Yeah.
How is that?
that?
How is that for your business? I mean, I would assume that you're primarily working with people that are selling their homes, buying.
Yeah.
But how is that for you right now?
Yeah, yeah, luckily for us, we're kind of recession proof, and we're also maybe market proof in a way because
you guys are unique with what you do. You're in a business where there's others, but they don't do what you do. You know?
Yeah,
exclusivity.
Exactly. So it's one of those things that has to be fixed. You can't put it off, and it has to be done. Especially with a transaction. With a transaction, it's got to be done.
So right now, with the slowness of the market, how long does it take to actually get a crew out if someone needed you? Are you a couple days out? Are you the next day? Are you a couple weeks?
Yeah, we fluctuate, obviously, like any business. Sometimes we can be out there the next day, and other times we might be a week out. But typically we don't, we try to stay on top of things and not be more than a week out at most. And like I say, the mold mitigation part we can do in a day. And if you have somebody else that wants the physical aspects, then you can bring somebody in faster if needed. But generally speaking, we can do everything start to finish, and we don't just do the mold; we also do restoration. I have guys that do the restoration.
For the mold inspection, Dustin, do you recommend an age range of the home specifically, or any home?
Any home, especially if you suspect anything had occurred. If you see any signs, or like I say, if you look at the disclosures and they say there was something, then you definitely
for sure.
Okay. But an older home obviously is going to be more prone because it's been around longer, and it could have had something 10 years ago. If there was a leak 10 or 15 years ago, and they never corrected the mold issue, it's still going to be there. So,
do you have any stories? I saw an article one time where the person went down into their basement. Now, they happen to be up in Washington, so totally different atmosphere. The mold in this thing in the place was literally 3 feet hanging from the ceilings on the walls. Have you run into anything like that here in Vegas? What's the worst? What's the worst situation?
God, can you imagine
That's
walking
disgusting.
in that, dude?
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some nasty ones. I've seen some actually growing mushrooms out of the
Wow.
In Las Vegas?
Did you guys see a line out the door for that? Or
mushrooms. Yeah, are they selling that stuff?
Don't put that on social media. Okay?
Yeah, we package it up and sell it.
Were they growing the good mushrooms?
Brett wants an address. Can you give Brett an address, please?
Brett, they're all good. They're all good, sir.
Right.
Oh, man. So,
Yeah, no, I've seen some bad ones. I've seen some that, all the walls are just completely covered.
yeah.
Do they not
I've seen
see
some really
that
bad ones.
No,
when
they
it
do. They don't
starts, or they
care.
just don't care? Because I'm all about preventive maintenance, health,
Yeah,
house.
it's one of those. Yeah, it's a neglect thing. Mold is a neglect thing, and
Totally.
there again, that's another thing.
Because it needs a source to start. It needs a source.
And it
So that
doesn't
means
happen
you're neglecting
overnight.
the source of where it started from. You're neglecting everything. You're letting it grow.
Which is a perfect
Yeah, so the
example
longer
of how inconsequential it is. It's over all of these walls and nobody cares, and there's nothing happening. It's an overreaction.
I care because my buyers care and pull out a contract and I don't get paid.
Exactly.
So
I'm not arguing that
Exactly.
point. I'm not arguing that point. It's just one of those things.
yeah,
that
no,
bothers
I know what you mean. The reality of it. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any more questions? I got one other question here, and we're going to let you go because we're on a time frame here. But I wanted to ask you, when you look at these homes and say how much mold, like is there a percentage of how much mold is grown or is in the house before you say, you know what, you can't repair it? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, we haven't had anything where it was beyond repair. You can always, there obviously is some where you're going to have to take a lot or most of the drywall out if it's saturated. Because again, that's physical damage. The mold grows on the surface and it'll saturate all the way through the drywall to the back side of the drywall. So, the worst case scenario, if you're seeing it on the outside, that typically means it's usually worse on the inside of the wall because mold likes to thrive in dark, damp spaces and cavities. So if you see a little bit of mold on the outside drywall, it could be, 3 to 4 feet on the inside of the drywall in the wall cavity. So that's a lot of the times we run into that where people see a small spot and go, oh, that's no big deal. But if you actually remove the drywall, you find a huge, large section of it that has to come out. But there's usually never anything where you got to demolish the whole house or anything, but there's definitely some cases where you're going to take out a significant amount of drywall and flooring. far as finding if there is an airborne issue, let's say you don't have anything visible, what we do is we take air quality samples. We take a sample on the inside of the house where we suspect there may have been a problem, or if you don't know, we'll do some centralized air samples. And then we also take what's called a control sample, which is an outdoor sample, because like I said before, there's a certain amount of mold that you're breathing outside every day. So we take the two samples, we compare them together, and if your inside sample is abnormally high or maybe a toxic species as compared to your control outdoor sample, then we know there's an issue that needs to be fixed. So.
Cool.
All right, guys. So listen, I want to say one thing here. So I want to thank Dustin for coming on. No demo mold. Also, Dustin, I want you to plug yourself real quick to see if somebody can maybe call you if they need some help. Maybe ask some questions about mold. Can you put your website out there, your phone number, all your information?
Yeah, for sure. So you can see our website. It's just nodemomold.com. We have a lot of videos on there, testimonials, and all kinds of things that you can see on our website. Our phone number, our Vegas number is 702-560-2666. That's our local Las Vegas number.
Gotcha. Again, Dustin, thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll have you back on at some point. And we're going to have all of Dustin's contact information. So if you guys want to also get a hold of him there, we'll put it all into the comment section. You guys can reach out to him. Dustin, thank you. You have a good rest of your weekend. Okay, buddy?
Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you,
Thanks for your time, Dustin. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dustin, thanks for all you do for the Atlas Group. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
I'm going to be calling you, Dustin.
Absolutely. So
Sure. Looking forward to it.
Thanks.
let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about what we want to discuss on real estate. Okay, so the first thing is I want to say, home affordability. Let's talk a little bit. I know we bring this up all the time, but I did see in the news that wage earnings have gone up slightly. It doesn't make a huge impact. I don't think you guys can attest to this, but maybe you can, as far as people out there buying homes right now. People are struggling, right? And we look at 450s, that price point where you're not going to have multiple offers or really that strong competition. So do you guys think that home affordability,
maybe.
You say 500? Do you think home affordability is going to get
Maybe
better
550.
this year, where you see the wages continuing to come up? We talk about how it's not helping or supporting people buying houses, but do you think it's going to keep continuing to get better, or do you think it's just going to be a constant problem going into this year? Rick?
I think it's going to get slightly better, and slightly, I mean a little bit. That type of fix takes a long time to happen, and so yeah, is it going to get better? Yes, I think it's going to take a long time, from that standpoint.
What about you, Bret? You got an idea on that?
So, on what part directly? Are people making more, or they're more like what's
Making more?
TBD. Because you're seeing a lot of people not go back to the traditional workforce. So here's what's going to happen is they obviously need to be doing something else and making money some other way. So either they're prolonging going back, and that's going to catch up to them in the end, or they honestly have found another way to make money so they don't have to go back. What that amount is, I'm sure is at least equal to or close to, if not above. And I don't really know what those numbers are coming in of kind of the new work world. The Great Resignation, I don't know what those numbers are for sure, so I can't tell you if it's really. I don't think it's really gone down.
Shannon, you deal with a lot of people. Like we're in the industry of real estate, right? So we're going to kind of give our take of what it is. What do you see out there as far as people that you deal with? Are they struggling to find the ability to buy a house today, or is it just the complete opposite?
I think it's inventory wise is what I hear. But when you're talking about wages and people creating something new and doing something different in the workforce, it takes time. That's why I say it's going to take time to correct. And of course it always corrects itself. It's going to eventually even out. But no, mass majority don't just start a business online or anything else and it not take 6, 9.
That's what I'm saying is I don't know what. Yeah,
it'll take time.
They've got money to pay the bills in between, but what's the end result?
A little bit, and mass majority don't stick with it.
Yeah,
they don't stick with it long enough to actually make a profit. Yeah, they just don't.
I know.
So I think that's going to be a big problem. I feel not a big problem, but I feel like it's going to be still a concern moving forward. With people trying to because we talk about it because you got a lot of people that want to buy a specific home. And it's not necessarily, even if they can buy it, the next question is, well, what's the mortgage, right? What's the payment on that thing? Because do I really want to pay a $3,000
Then I say,
mortgage?
call my buddy Dan French, and he'll let you know what your mortgage is.
Yeah. So it's like 450, 500. I mean, you're looking at a $3,000 mortgage, right? 2,500.
So what is it? If someone does
That's huge.
10% down, $450,000 house, what's their mortgage payment going to be?
I mean, you're probably looking at 2,000 to 2,500, but
Okay.
I think it's like this.
But then you got to do taxes.
It's like this. If you're making a fixed income, right, and you don't have a housing income, right? Let's say two people aren't working. Maybe you're by yourself. You make that. That's half of what you make in a month. Do you really want to put all
But we've
that money
talked
to
about that,
Right.
which is people are
Cash
starting
flow.
to team up with families. I mean, I just had a deal this week on a new home, and it was the daughter, it was the stepson, the mom, and like an ex-husband or somebody like that. It was like 4 or 5 different family members that all went in on this, and it was like a $550,000 house.
That's
but it was a
really
5-bedroom,
interesting. Is that a trend?
Nice.
Are you
and
seeing
that's
that,
what I'm
Corinne?
seeing a lot.
Are you seeing that too?
Yes, where the elderly parent who
Sure,
sold their
I'm not
house,
saying
they're
it's
gonna move in.
every sale, but
Yeah.
a lot more
It's a
than it's
trend.
ever been.
Wow.
A lot more,
Wow.
and I think
Interesting.
it's just going to continue that way.
Yeah.
That's why even builders have been building those next gen
Next
suites.
gen. I love
for the
those.
last 2 years. They've been
Yeah.
building next gen
Yeah.
suites for that purpose.
I just saw one. Yeah, we just went through
Yeah,
one.
we did. Yeah.
Also, I want to bring up one thing, and then we're going to jump over
Sure.
here to Rick to talk about property management. But I want to also bring up that we talk about OfferPad, iBuying. Are they going to continue to monopolize? They have. What do you think the market share for an iBuyer or iBuying companies in as a whole?
I think the dominant ones that can afford it, like OfferPad, are gonna continue to do it, and they're gonna win in the end.
But they're borrowing money to do it.
I understand, and to be honest with you, what they're making off their profit right now probably isn't that much. But I think a lot of them they're gonna end up holding them, and they're gonna end up renting them out. So I think that long term, they know exactly what they're doing. And to me, if you're a big business like that, and you're willing to take it up to you know what right now, that says to me that you have a vision of what's going to happen, and you're literally putting your money where your mouth is. So I always look at to me the real money and where it's going and see what they're doing, and that's going to tell you right there.
I have a question actually,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously I'm not a realtor or in the mortgage industry. So I have a question with that. Is there any state regulations that cap them on the percentage of properties they can purchase within?
No.
Wow.
Buy it all.
Really?
They can buy
None.
as many-
They can
them
buy the
all.
whole state if they wanted to.
Again.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're coming
Okay.
in and they're going, so you're taking hedge funds like Blackstone, which are billion-dollar hedge funds, right? They're going directly to home builders like Lennar and D.R. Horton and buying 1,500 homes
That's
a time
insane.
with the purpose of never buying them and selling them as a regular home to purposely only rent them out.
That's really scary actually.
So whole rental communities is what they're investing in now.
Wow.
What's that say? Just watch what they're doing with their money.
So it's something to look at. Those two things are really things that what I want to kind of pay attention
Mm-hmm.
to because look at Zillow, they got out of the market, but those are direct competitors to
Yeah.
you, really.
So
Because
it's like anything. Like there was a Netscape at first, but how many people say, "Why don't you Netscape it?"
Yeah.
It's Google it. So Zillow is a little bit of an exception because they're an iBuyer later on. All the other businesses like OfferPad, that's their business plan. That's their business model. But Zillow was a bunch of other things first, and then it was, we're going to dab into this because the market's going well.
Let's get over.
That's the difference between knowing what you're doing and not.
Let's get over to Rick Raines. We got to keep
Worked out.
moving. I want to talk with property management. Rick Raines. Rick, we always say not too much going on. Anything going on with
Yeah, we got some stuff going on.
stories and stuff that you got to talk
some
about?
stories and some stuff. So one
Bring
of
it, Rick.
the things that I looked at, Dan has been asking me over the few weeks, is there any changes happening? Is there any changes happening? And I keep saying no. Well, this is on me because I hadn't actually checked. So last night I decided to check, and the average rental price went from $1,700 up to $2,100 a month in the past 4 months.
What?
So-
In the
4
past
months?
4 months?
4?
Yeah, in the past 4
Yo!
months. So it went up
Big.
23%.
Huge.
That's
Wow.
23 in 4 months.
Is
In
it
4
because of
months.
low
Holy
demand, low
mother.
supply?
Don't know. All I know is that the rental market
Basically.
is continuing to expand. Just over the last week, it went up almost 8% again.
So why?
Wow.
Because they can.
Because they can't.
They
Of
can't.
course.
So there you
Because
go.
they can.
No inventory.
It's back to the whole thing. No
Yep.
inventory.
Yep, exactly.
Not being able to afford to buy, and that has to do with savings and down payment. And guess what? There is sort of an income qualification to get into a rental, but it's not like buying a house.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Anyway, that's where that's at. And I wanted to give you a story, and this is for the investors out there that decide that they want to manage the place themselves. And this is a story of what happened to me when I was brand new in the business. So this is about, at least here in
like
Nevada.
5 years ago?
No, like 30 years ago, this happened. So it's similar in that I had a little bit of experience, okay? But it was one of the first evictions. I got this property, and I got it because the owner wanted me to evict the tenant. So I went in. I never met this tenant before. I posted everything, really proud of myself. Talked to the neighbors. They hadn't seen this tenant in 3 weeks. Okay.
Oh, dear.
So I hadn't seen the tenant, and the eviction process goes through. I go into the property, and
Don't even tell me they're dead.
And it looks like they're trying to move out. It looks like they're trying to move out, but it also looks like it's just kind of like been left. So, of course, going by the law, so I stay and hold it for 30 days. I tell the owner, we don't need to move it. We'll just lock it up tight and wait for them to come back and clear everything out. Well, it went past the 30 days. In fact, it almost went to another 45 days. Still hadn't heard a word from them. So I go in, being the good guy and landlord now is chomping at the bit in order to get everything out. I get rid of everything. I mean, either it went to Goodwill, went to trash, went wherever. And I made the mistake, and this is the learning experience, of getting rid of everything. About a month later, so now it's been close to 3 months, it's about 4:45 at night. It's during the winter. It's dark outside. I get this phone call, and it's this guy. Where's my stuff?
3 months later?
Where's my stuff? And I'm like, dude, sorry, sir, but, state law, blah, blah, blah. Owner wanted it gone. I got rid of everything. Everything? Where are the pictures of my kids? Where are my certificates of this, that, and the other? I said, I got rid of everything. I'm going to effing kill you. Dead serious. I know where you're at, and I'm coming down.
Oh, no.
And
Come get it. That's what I'd say.
So
to him.
anyway, the point
Lock that shit up. Let's go.
The point to
Scary.
this story is that if you're a landlord and you don't know, and even though I was a property manager at that time, I'd never had that type of an experience.
So what were you
before.
supposed to do?
So what we do now is anything that's of a personal nature. Anybody can replace a table, a lamp, whatever. But when it comes to pictures, letters, certificates, anything like that, we store it. How long do I store it? I've stored stuff now for up to 2 years waiting for
my
people to come
goodness.
back.
Huh?
So,
good to hear.
Wow.
and I have had people come back 6 months later to get a photo album or something.
But why
like
would
that.
they think that they would be getting that stuff back if you abandoned
leave it.
something?
Why do people think
No, I know.
anything that they think?
I mean, come
You're-
on, let's be real.
You got me on that one, Rick.
So anyway, most owners aren't willing to go through that. They don't even think about it. They don't anticipate it. I get it. And that's one of the reasons that you do want to hire a property manager that's got 30 plus years experience so that they can keep you away from getting situations, and basically they get in between you and harm's way. And it doesn't cost you anything. We've got a storage unit. We put the stuff in. We keep it for a year. If we don't hear from him for a year, then
So what happened with that particular guy?
Yeah, did
He never showed up.
Oh, good.
Imagine
Wow.
that.
He never showed
Wow.
up. Maybe he talked to somebody. He calmed down. He understood that it was actually, he'd been in jail, and so that's
you
why
knew
he
that
disappeared.
because
I
Yeah.
knew
You know?
that because I found
you
out.
could, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that was one of my stories. In
Wow.
fact, it's I'm looking at the clock, and it's time to go over to Bret. But before we do, I just wanted to touch base on something here. So Dan,
He's got a bag.
I've got a bag.
Bag of goodies. What do you got here,
What is
Rick?
happening,
What is this,
sir?
Rick?
So anyway,
Surprise, surprise.
So anyway, this
Treats.
is for Bret.
Can,
Now,
can I open it? Can I open it in front of everyone?
so here's the thing. I started on this project at the beginning of November, and that's how long it's taken to have this come through.
Damn, Rick.
Hopefully you're going to like it. Hopefully it's going to help you in your business. And that's what I was thinking of when I got it. That we had made a comment on this show, and that's what triggered this, and that was way back in November.
Damn, man.
What is happening?
So
Open
keep
it.
I
So
know.
keep an eye on
You're
here.
better than a woman.
Well,
I'm
let's go
very
ahead.
excited.
Remembering that? I mean, that's like.
Brett, go ahead and open that gift, man.
All right.
I just want to see what it is.
We need to know.
Hold on.
I mean, come
Put
on.
my old man glasses.
Oh, you got to do that.
Don't age yourself like that.
Hey, now.
See what? Let's
None
see
of us
what.
are getting younger.
Let's
I
see what.
own it.
Let's see what Rick's given to Brett over here.
So I just wanted you to know you weren't forgotten. It just took a
Oh
while.
my God, it's duct tape.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna. Okay. Good.
Oh, look
Wallet.
at you.
What
A
is it?
wallet.
Yeah.
Show us what it is, man.
Dude, thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Let me take a look. Let me see.
Come with money.
Oh, they have a. Oh.
Dude, that's
Let me
awesome,
see it.
Rick.
Let me see it, dude.
Dude,
What is that? What is going on?
certified crypto agent.
Hold that up, buddy.
That's amazing.
Yo, Rick.
Certified.
Take a picture.
Hey,
That's amazing.
this is
dude.
what you do now. Listen, you
Oh,
got your.
hold on. Here I am.
Oh, wow.
Here I am.
Oh wow.
Look at you, big man.
Excuse me, certified crypto
Hey,
agent.
when you go and see somebody, just flash
Yeah,
it.
you got.
Hey, you got
You
the.
got crypto problems? What's your problem, ma'am? I'm certified crypto agent.
It's got the state seal in the middle of it.
Dude, that's
That
awesome.
is
Yeah,
wonderful.
is that? Do I have the right? I'm sorry. This way.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, you gotta practice.
There you go,
That's
man.
so
Look at
awesome,
that, dude.
dude.
And then here I am. Here's
That's
my
you, baby.
identification.
That's
That is
amazing.
so awesome.
I'm gonna have to search you, ma'am.
Hey, so
certified crypto agent.
now that you have a certification and a badge,
Dude,
what's going
I don't
on?
know what to say, man. Dude, this guy, man,
that
I'm
is
blown
so
away, Rick.
sweet.
Dude, that's
It's
amazing.
all fun.
Dude.
yeah.
This is the
Dude,
first time
that-
he's at a loss for words.
I am.
How long you
If-
been
like,
married,
dude.
Rick? No wonder.
Wow, man. That's
So, all right.
Rick.
Brett's
You're
gonna
amazing,
cry.
dude.
So listen, let's talk to
Wow.
with Brett real quick about what's happening. Now, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about real estate or cryptocurrency?
Oh, we
today?
talk a little bit of both. For real estate, I wanted to touch on the quick fact. I think we're down to 3,000 homes. So just to go over that quickly, we're down to about 3,000 homes. That's townhouse, condos, single family residence, everything.
Yep.
So 3 months ago, we were at 4,500, 4,600?
Yeah.
48.
So 4,800. So 3 months ago, we were at 4,800 homes inventory, which was the record low. Now we're 3,000.
Yeah.
So if that gives you an idea, we're definitely not going in the other direction. Another quick thing on real estate is I saw that Summerlin Howard Hughes Corporation had just sold a little over 200 acres in one sale, which is a big deal because most of the time Howard Hughes would sell 200 acres an entire year. They did this in just one sale purchase. It's between Town Center and Tropicana. So I'm trying to picture in my mind. I'm not exactly sure where there's 200 acres there, but it's already been developed for 20 years, blah, blah, blah. They sold it for what, Rick? 135 million?
Yes.
135 million, 200 acres. It's going to be developed by only two builders. I believe it's Pulte and Toll Brothers.
And they're going to do a little over between 500 and 600 homes.
Yep. So,
Nice.
yeah, man. I mean, that's it's needed though.
So again, there's a lot of work opportunity here in that aspect, and so who knows, how long that entire development's going to take, especially with the shortage that we have going on for.
I find it interesting. It's only going to be two builders. Pulte doesn't surprise me because they did Reverence, right?
Yes.
So I mean
Right.
that people don't understand with Reverence. That was one builder coming in.
Huge.
So
It was
normally where you would have
huge.
4, 5, 6 different builders, there was one builder that came and said, we're just going to buy it all and we're just going to develop it all as ourselves. And they even started putting up homes even before they started selling them too, which is, they usually don't do that. So Pulte is not surprising, but Toll Brothers is kind of putting it on a limb.
So I have a question, since I don't swim in the new builder market. All right? On a scale of 1 to 10 compared to Richmond American, Pulte, all these other homes, KB or whatever, what's the quality scale with Pulte? Are they a low end?
They're
Try
pretty
and
high up
get
there.
everything?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, man, go online, you find good and bad everything.
Yes.
I mean, that's like, there's always people that are always, just like the market's always going to be crashing to some people. Like, it's, but overall, I haven't really heard any complaints by them.
No. And even Toll Brothers, America's luxury builders.
And they
you love them or hate
they
them,
own
they're
American
buyers.
West too, I
Do
believe,
they?
right? Yeah,
Pulte?
they own
Okay.
American West too.
Not Richmond? Richmond? Okay.
No, I don't. I think it's Pulte.
Okay.
All right, what's going on with cryptocurrency, man?
Crypto, man.
I know you wanted to bring it up. So
dude, yeah, it's it's funny because I went on Facebook about 10 days ago and said Bitcoin is about ready to drop like in mofo. And it's gone from 53,000 to I think it just hit 40,000 this morning, right when we were starting. So it's down about 25 to 26% in the past couple of months. Man, it's like one minute the sentiment is, okay, this is supposed to do that, and it's bottoming out right now, and we're about ready to skyrocket up for phase 2. Other people say we're just going to be stuck in this nickel and diamond up and down chip shopping for a while. Who knows? Who knows, man? If you believe in a long-term coins that I'm personally getting into are called NEAR and SAND, which is virtual real estate, basically. It's virtual land online. So imagine being a real estate agent online. Imagine being a real estate agent, but you're just doing it for virtual land on land. So like there's a platform right now called Decentraland. Yeah. If you want to buy a little lot of land, it's like $25,000. But 2 years ago, it was like $100. So if you believe that these metaverses are essentially landscapes where you're going to exist, you're basically buying property on it.
Wow.
So like there was one person that owned virtual land where they had a mall, they had a high fashion mall on there.
Yeah.
But they made it so desirable that like you make it so that LeBron James wants to have his shoes in your store, in your shop there. You want to have blah, blah, blah. So then you start having celebrities buy their stuff to put it in your store. Now you become the store that everybody shops their online NFTs at, and then you can sell that for hundreds of millions. And there's different, you can build up your portfolio. And I have different ways that I think of myself that I can do with that as far as real properties and putting them all in NFTs and then putting them on a landscape where it's like the strength of your holding and how much yours is worth would be in alignment to like, say, the Las Vegas Strip. If you have a portfolio that's full of a lot of valuable NFTs of properties, then you can have that, like, say it's a Caesar's on the Strip versus something, in the Southwest in Green Valley, that's a house or something like that, where it's going to have less value.
I think
and it's all dependent. I mean, there's a million different ways we can go down it, which
it's where it gets confusing. I think for the people that are just getting into it or want to get into it, there's so many different avenues.
There is,
and
believe I read about this stuff for at least probably 3 or 4 hours every single day.
Yeah,
and I'm still, and believe me, man. I mean, we're talking about dealing with people who are so smart. Like, I mean, they're, borderline autistic because they're so smart, but they, so I'm trying to understand their stuff. It's a whole different thing. You just got to be on top of it. But the minute that you figure you're on top of one thing, something new comes up. And to be honest with you, we're all, even me that I read about every day, I'm at a disadvantage because I'm not 19, because I'm not 20. Like they've grown up in just a whole different frame of mind and environment than we have, that a lot of things that they design, they make it so easy because that's the way they think. And it's like almost too easy for us because it's like almost too logical.
Yeah.
But they just assume that. So whatever. And then another thing I wanted to talk quick about is I read an article earlier this week. This happened back in 2016. It was with a DAO. You know what a DAO is? DAO. It's a decentralized autonomous operation. So essentially what it is like, say a group of guys, all of us in this room get together and we say, we want to pool our money together and we want to start investing in properties, in investment properties, right? So it's basically a computer program that you can write up that basically everybody has an equal say. All the rules and regulations of how that organization is going to work are automatically set up ahead of time. So it sets up the governance rights, it sets up the control rights, all those things. And the more that you buy into it, the more that you have like anything else. But it's all decentralized so that not one person can come in and override everyone else and make a decision for your investment group or whatever it is. So this was a group that had like 150 million back in 2016. And I'm going to say this story because it's interesting. Somebody hacked into it and was able to get, so at the end of the day, here's the thing. Bitcoin and decentralization and cryptocurrencies, all these are great ideas, but the one fault all of them have is at the end of the day, they're designed by humans. Right?
Right.
So what this hacker did is they used humans being humans against them. is they basically went in and took the same program that this Dow used. And here's what they essentially did. It's like going to an ATM machine and you click in, you want to get $50, right? So you click in $50, what to do? The first thing it says is read your account and shows that you have $50. Then it gives you the $50. And then it pops up and says, do you want to do another transaction? Before you do that another transaction, before it allows you to do another transaction, it basically checks your balance. So if you try to get another $50 and you don't have $50 left, it's going to decline you because before it allows you to do it again, it checks its balances. What this thing did was essentially didn't check its balance. So it would take out the coins, and then before the coins had, and then it kept on. It's like going to the ATM and hitting, do you want $50? And you keep on hitting the button, hitting that button. But every time you go to hit the button beforehand, it doesn't check its balance.
So you're gonna owe
So,
it.
so you can keep on taking it out because it's out because it doesn't check any of the balances.
Do you owe it later or?
They were stealing it.
They hacked
Oh.
it.
Yeah.
They hacked
stealing
it. But that's the thing about it is what you can do is what's great about blockchain is you can actually track to see what wallet all of that went to. And you can track it from that point on. So then they can go and see what wallet that went to, see what addresses they sent that to, and see if they align with any exchanges. If they align with any exchanges, you can go to that exchange request and get it shut down, and they can freeze all their funds. And that's the way to get it back. So I just found that
Assuming it's
interesting.
still there.
I just found it interesting that they essentially, a hacker used
Yeah.
the same thing within that was designed, which is basically going to an ATM,
Yeah.
clicking for $50 to be given to you, and then not checking the balance before it gave you another $50. They exploited that and got like
That's-
150 million.
Oh,
That's a great
So
payday.
that was in 2016, but
We're running over on time.
Sorry.
But listen, no, it's a great. Hey, if you guys want more of that, come back on Tuesday.
Yeah, I get
You'll
talking,
finish
I
the
get
story. No, that's all good. So, guys, thank you so much. If everybody out there was watching, if you guys come across this video, please hit the like button. We're trying to grow this channel. We want to get to 1,000, and we really want to keep putting out that content. This is the most real behind the scenes information on financing, real estate, money talk. We do have entrepreneurs coming on. That's also the goal this year. We have a lot of good guests that's coming on. And if you guys want anybody's information here, Rick Raines, he's property management. You got Bret Jenny over here, he's real estate. Shannon Miller, we're going to have some information on her in the comment section. And also on Corin Lujan, she's also a real estate agent. Look in the comment section if you guys want to take a look at that. If you have any, want to reach out to them, find out if you can get some questions answered. And we'll be back here on Tuesday. We have another guest. And that's it, guys. Appreciate you guys coming in. And
Thank you so much.
we
Thanks
will
for watching.
see you guys on Tuesday.
have a great day.
Bye.
But I may have a client for you. Just got a text.
who?